Welcome back to Pelican Sports TV. I'm Tommy Krysan, and special pleasure here in our Run Around the State segment, portion of it. We like to talk about other teams around the state and what's going on, and obviously we're in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans, and not too far from there, down in Thibodaux, Nicholls State. I got to date this guy. We go back over 30 years. Over 30 years.
Has it been that long already?
I'm going to tell you, it's been over 30 years when we met in the bullpen at Southeastern when Timmy was a walk-on catcher for the baseball team and I was a senior left-handed pitcher.
And you used to beat me up, all in the dirt, having to block all your balls.
So he was a walk-on, so they stuck him in the bullpens. So we became friends, and we did a few things together and hung out a little bit. He made me break curfew. Now, none of you student-athletes heard that, right? But he did make me break curfew one night, if
all
you remember.
my players are listening. Thank you very much.
But that's over 30 years ago. They weren't even born yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, about a little over a month ago, Timmy was named head football coach at the Nicholls State University, the Colonels down in Thibodaux. Timmy, first off, congratulations.
Thank you.
You'd been on the ULL staff with Mark Hudspeth. You guys did very good things over there. You had been in Thibodaux before. But here's a question we'll start off with. Why now? What's the fit for Tim Rebowe to go to Nicholls State now and be the head football coach?
I think I've grown over the last couple of years. People ask me that, I get the comment all the time, maybe you should have gotten the job before. I don't want to look back at that. I've had some really, really good years in Lafayette. The last 4 winning New Orleans Bowl. So I think I've grown. I've learned a lot from all the coaches I've been under, but especially the last couple of years. And I think this is a place where I want to be. This is a place where I want to stay. I'm not looking to go anywhere else. I think the time is right.
Well, and you were on the staff with that. You were on Darren Barbier's staff down there in Thibodaux before. I remember going down there. You guys knocked off Southern one night when I was sitting in the press box a few years back. So you're not new to Thibodaux. You went to Destrehan High School, coached there. I mean, it's your neck of the woods, although your entire coaching career has been in Louisiana, be it high school or collegiately up in Monroe or in Lafayette, Thibodaux before that. So, I mean, you're like a Louisiana guy. So, I mean, Nicholls State, I think it is a good fit.
Well, I think if you go back even before that, in the 70s when my brother Rusty played there, and I used to go to all the games, and I was in junior high and high school, and I grew up running around John L. Guidry Stadium. And then to stay in Louisiana is something that I pride myself on that I've done. I stayed in the state of Louisiana. I think I've built a lot of good relationships with a lot of people, a lot of the coaches. So I think that's another reason why the time is right for me to go back.
I'll give your brother a quick shout out. I've come to know the guy who was the PA announcer, Tommy Williams, back at Nicholls State back in the day, and he told me he wished he had $1 for every time he said tackled by Rebowe. Yeah. Your brother, who was an All-American.
He's still in the record books for the number of tackles. Correct.
Yeah, All-American, played a little bit with the Saints and all that. But now, Nicholls State football, members of the Southland Conference, in there with Southeastern, McNeese, Northwestern State, and then some schools from over in Texas. Now, UNO's in the Southland, but obviously they don't play football. It went 0-12 last year. I mean, that's what it is. So there's a lot of change needed and a lot of room for improvement. You've been on a job roughly a month. What have you, aside from putting your staff together, what are you and the staff doing to try to put some life into Nicholls football?
I think the main thing I got to change the mindset. I got to change the mindset of the current players on that team. Before you start talking about going outside recruiting, go and see all kind of other players to try to get into the program. The community is so excited, but I've got to change the players. I said this before. I don't think the cupboard's bare where I'm coming from. I think we got some good football players. I think the previous staff has done a good job of recruiting the last couple years. They've gotten some local guys. I know it's a big knock about getting local players in there, which we are committed to doing. But I'm changing that mindset to try to create a culture of winning and a culture of success. And we're starting that. School started today, and I'm starting that with our early morning workouts and getting after it and just getting all the guys on the same page.
All right, now you've put a staff together, and I know you've brought some high school guys out of the high school ranks in Louisiana. That's for a couple of reasons. One, give them a chance to take a step up.
Where I had a chance.
Yeah, you were at Destrehan High, got to the Superdome, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
So you had that chance, so you're giving some guys a chance, but these are good coaches, guys who've been in top-notch programs, and it's all about recruiting, so that's going to help with all of that. I know you've recruited heavily in Louisiana for many, many years, respectively to whatever school you were with. But talk about the formation of your coaching staff.
Well, you start off talking about the high school guys, and I hired Marcus Scott from West Jefferson High School, and everybody said, man, everywhere you go, what a great hire, what a great hire, what a great person. Excellent football coach. Lee Russell from Rummel High School, one of the really, really good offensive line coaches. Been around, and I watched Lee over the years, and I said, hey, if I ever get a shot, there's a guy who I'd want to bring with me.
And certainly Rummel's had their share of success.
And winning, exactly right. So, of course, I went to Jay Roth, and he was mad at me for taking this coach, but Lee's going to do a great job. My coordinators have experience. I have some guys that, Rob Christoffel was a guy who was with me in Lafayette years ago. It's coming from Missouri State, so I'm very, very excited about him. He's going to run the offense, and Tommy Ryback, he's going to run the defense. So we got some. I got Anthony Camp coming out of Baton Rouge. Catholic High School. Who,
another top-notch program.
Program knows how to win. Parkview product. Went to McNeese. Has been in the college ranks a little bit. So I'm trying to put a staff together who, who's going to gel, who's coming together, but they have relationships across the state as well.
Now, talk about the recruiting end of things, and I know we're not here to mention names,
right.
But we all understand the rules of that. But you as head coach at Nicholls, yeah, they want local guys. You want guys from South Louisiana. But draw the line there of local guys versus guys who you think can play football at Nicholls and help win Southland Conference games.
Oh, exactly. Now, I said this years ago when I was there the first time that we don't have to go too far to recruit. I mean, it's a reason why everybody comes to the state of Louisiana, because there's some top-notch players in there, and they can't get them all. So I'm going to get those. I'm going to find the diamond in the rough. We're going to get those guys. We got to identify that talent, and then we got to be able to develop that talent. But then also, I know I may have to go a little further if say, there's a lineman that I want to get, or somewhere maybe in East Texas I can go get, or Mississippi Gulf Coast, or in Alabama. I'll go get that guy. I'm also, there's a lot of players who have gone away, maybe who one day who want to come back home and come play at Nicholls State.
Talk about the difference as you recruit between going for the junior college guy and the high school guy. Is that a fit thing if there's a position of need and a guy that fits in that spot? Talk about that difference, because you've been out recruiting for many, many years, as I know. Talk about that difference, and in particular for Nicholls State, in evaluating a junior college guy, a high school guy, and I'll throw a third factor in, a transfer, a guy who maybe went to another school, things aren't working out for whatever the reason, and looking for somewhere else to play.
I think it's a need thing. It's need-based. Like right now, we need linemen. We need offensive linemen. We need defensive linemen. So you're looking into the junior college ranks for maybe a guy who can get to you. But it comes in, they got to graduate. They made the requirements a lot tougher. You have to graduate with so many hours. You got to decide whether you want a guy who's going to come in January, he gets out in December, or if you're going to wait on a guy that he's not getting out till May. Now, you want that guy to come in December because he can go through your spring program. But sometimes that doesn't work out that way. So I think it is a big fit thing, especially going to be a fit thing for us. I think we can get skilled guys, around South Louisiana. You may have to go to that JC to get a big lineman.
Now, let's talk about the Southland Conference. I mean, Sam Houston State,
very.
year in and year out, raking runs in the playoffs. Ron Roberts has got Southeastern in a good direction with back-to-back Southland Conference titles over there in Hammond. And the rest of that conference, McNeese, we all know McNeese
Perennial
can
power.
play football, and they're always in the hunt and have made their share of playoff runs. People tend to say, well, Southland Conference, well, like it is in other sports, football in the Southland Conference is very tough. Road or home, it's a good brand of football. They put a lot of guys into the NFL.
Very, very competitive league. I mean, I know that going to those guys you mentioned, McNeese has been there. And then you look at the job Jay Thomas is doing at Northwestern State, doing a tremendous job. We know we got work cut out for us, but we want to build that program to where they're not going to say, oh, Nicholls State, there's a victory. They looking on that schedule to say where it's going to be. We think we can get in there and compete. You're not going to go say how many victories you're going to get right away, but we're going to be competitive, and we want to be able to line up on that field and put a good product out there.
What does the Nicholls State schedule look like for the 2015 season?
They're changing the format to the conference. Now you're playing 9 conference games. We're going back to an 11-game schedule in FCS, so we'll play 9 conference games, which allows you 2 other games, non-conference games, and the programs like us in the FCS are going to be your money games.
Right.
So next year we're going to play ULM in Monroe, and we go play University of Colorado Buffaloes in Boulder.
Yeah. So, and again, I mean that's critical to the budget.
Correct.
And I think everybody understands that now.
Right.
Years ago they'd be like, oh, in fact, Southern University's playing at Georgia this year.
Yeah.
I mean that's to help the budget. And those things may go away in the future, but that can be a topic for another day when, you know, the Power 5 does what they want to do and all. But so you got those 2 games where you can go get some money. And then, hey, as I've always said, you know, those guys, they get this, it's a memory for them when they get older to say, hey, I played against the Colorado Buffaloes. Nicholls played Arkansas last year. You know, you got to do that. You got to play. McNeese will play in Tiger Stadium this year. These kids can say that.
Oh, McNeese goes last year to Nebraska
and
almost wins the game.
Should have won the game. Right. You know, so the Nicholls players can be able to say, hey, I had that experience as part of the deal, but then focus on winning the Southland Conference.
Hey, you know, also, all athletes, you know, Tommy, are competitors, and they want to think they can play with anybody. So, you know, you don't go tell them that they're just going to play at Georgia or at Texas A&M or at LSU. They want to go there and compete, and that's what you want to do. You want to see where your program, where you stack up, and you know it's a different depth-wise and all that. But
at the end of the day, it's going to be a gap.
Exactly. So, but those guys want to go in there and compete. And then, look, you know, we say it, you want to come out, you want to know where you are, injury-free, and look forward to going to your conference.
Well, Timmy, obviously this program airs in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, so this is your chance to tell the college football fans throughout South Louisiana, not just in Thibodaux, because I know you're talking to them every day, what they're going to look for, what kind of football team are they going to see out on the field this year in Thibodaux and when you guys hit the road?
Hey, look, there's a lot of good things happening in Thibodaux, Louisiana, and that's what we want to say. You can come there, get a great education. We have great facilities, the same thing, just like, and we're going to play a brand of football, wide open brand of football, competitive, get after you, and see what happens at the end of the day.
Yeah, so that'll be happening down in Thibodaux. And of course, as I said, on this program, we have our Run Around the State segment when we talk about other things going on in the state, the other programs, because, hey, those coaches, those student athletes, those support staffs work just as hard as anybody else, and it's always fun to, that's why we added the Run Around the State portion to this program. Now, you were here a couple of years ago, and we had Mark Hudspeth on the program, and you know, and we like to do that here on this program. Timmy, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come join us in Baton Rouge, and we'll be keeping an eye on you, and I know I'll be staying in touch.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Tim Rebowe, new head football coach of the Nicholls State Colonels. That's right. Colonel football going to have a new look. Watch out for them this fall. We'll see what they do when it comes to Saturday nights. We'll continue with more right here on Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, and on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com. Stay with us.